families can be difficult, and the personal narrative of 50 Cent, who became famous because of his persistent drive, is just as dramatic as his career trajectory. Few people are aware of the turmoil and heartache that accompany his home life. Despite the fact that he is well recognized as a rap icon, despite having 2 children, 50 Cent has had a difficult connection with his eldest son, Marquise Jackson. Despite navigating complicated relationships due to his past, he has given his younger son, Sire, his undivided love and attention. When 50 Cent's then-girlfriend, Shaw Tompkins, gave birth to Maris in 1996, 50 Cent real name Curtis Jackson became a father. Everything appeared to be going smoothly at the time, but the family bond deteriorated along with their turbulent relationship. Tension between 50 and Maris had already started to rise after a drawn-out and contentious custody dispute. And by the time the matter was finally settled in 2008, 50 claimed that their father-son relationship was barely surviving. When he was little, he adored his father and thought he was superhuman. But as he got older, that awe gave way to disillusionment, and by the time he was a teenager, their relationship had all but vanished. When Mars was spotted in a photo with the son of Kenneth Supreme McGriff, a person associated with one of 50 Cent's most dangerous adversaries. In 2008, it was the final straw. 50 was deeply hurt by this treachery, and he retaliated with according to family members. Maris regularly caused trouble by deliberately doing things that irritated his father. To irritate him, he would post stuff online or hang out with individuals he didn't like. Both of them refused to give up. Thus, it turned into a twisted game. 50 Cent said that he wouldn't feel anything if Maris and McGriff's son were struck by a bus in response to the criticism of his callous social media remark. It was a scathing comment that showed how strained their relationship was. Not hatred, but rather sadness, stating that he thought his son was not treating him with any respect. He had given Maris far more money than he had ever had as a child. Maris publicly tried to get his father's attention in 2022 by promising $6,700. The same monthly child support payment that 50 had made in return for only 1 day of his father's time. 50 rejected the offer, saying that a sincere attempt at reconciliation would not entail social media. Despite Maris's claims that it wasn't about money and that all he wanted was to spend time with his father, Maris is adamant about establishing himself in spite of the pain. Dropping songs and trying to break out from his father's shadow, he entered the music business. He believed that Maris wasn't being serious and that a disrespectful relationship couldn't be repaired with money. Later, Maris revealed that he had attempted to contact his father privately, but had encountered difficulties due to his lack of his father's phone number and social media blocking. He only wanted an open and sincere discussion. He wasn't requesting financial assistance. Cracks in the personal lives of even the most successful people can occasionally be deep. Family tales frequently conceal layers of suffering, happiness, and strife. Although 50 Cent's relationship with his younger son, Sire, seems closer, it has also been influenced by the challenges he has encountered throughout all of the ups and downs. He gave birth to his second son in September 2012, a reminder that there are no exceptions to 50 Cent's path as a father and a son. His relationship with his son seems to be much closer than his turbulent relationship with his oldest son, Maris. But behind the scenes, things have not been going well with his mother, Daphne Joy. Daphne accused 50 of mistreating her on social media in March 2024. Claiming that her heart was broken and that any faith she had in him as a parent had been destroyed. Despite 50 Cent's denials, the public charges intensified their already complicated relationship. Following allegations of Daphne's involvement in adult work, which she strongly disputed. To pursue exclusive custody of Sire, the drama was extensively covered and wasn't just found in courtrooms. Their fight had already made headlines. In 2013, 50 was accused of domestic assault during a violent confrontation with Daphne. He pleaded guilty to petty vandalism, avoiding heavier penalties despite being accused of kicking her and causing damage to her property. The event resulted in 3 consecutive years of "In Spite of Everything." 50 Cent is steadfast in his commitment to his legacy, particularly with regard to his son's sire. He made it clear in a recent interview that his youngest son would inherit all of his fortune, stressing that everything he has created will be passed on to sire. His devotion to sire was praised by fans. But many were left wondering about his firstborn child, Morris. Community service and probation were unmistakable, signs that their conflicts had practical consequences and were not merely tabloid gossip. When Maris posted a photo of himself within 2018 was one of the most dramatic moments in the continuing story between 50 and Maris. McGriff. It's more than just a name to people who know 50's past. To them, he represents a dark chapter in the rapper's life. Seeing his son with someone's youngster who was so strongly connected to the 2000 shooting that nearly killed 50 was a breaking point for McGriff, who was reportedly implicated in the incident. It was painfully clear how severe their schism had grown when 50 Cent responded coldly to the photo. Behind the headlines and platinum albums is the tale of a man molded by both sorrow and success. In addition to being a native of Queens, New York, Curtis Jackson was brought up by a single mother who fought valiantly to provide him with a better life. His mother, Sabrina Jackson, was everything to him. She was a hard worker who was prepared to take on any task necessary to support her son. When Curtis was just 8 years old in 1983, her life on the streets was brutally cut short. His mother was drugged, rendered unconscious, and had her flat set on fire in what police believed to be a homicide. 50 Cent's life was permanently impacted by the unanswered mystery surrounding her murder in their South Jamaica, Queens neighborhood. She made waves in a world that wasn't friendly to women like her because of her courage and fortitude. Although 50 Cent's family has always been the most important aspect of his life, there have been heartbreaks and challenges along the road. According to 50Y's interviews, losing his mother, Sabrina Jackson, when he was 8 years old, created a wound that never completely healed. Curtis's ambition, drive, and unrelenting quest for success were spurred by this violent and young incident. But it also left scars that helped define the complex man we know today, a parent trying to strike a balance between the anguish of unresolved connections and his legacy. He talked about how her death affected him, recalling how the one person who meant the world to him was brutally snatched away by someone who allegedly placed something in her drink and turned on the gas. Even as an adult, he admits that he would have believed that if his mother had been alive, things wouldn't have turned out the way they did whenever life threw him a curveball. In addition to being his mother, Sabrina was a strong, direct lady who made sure her son was ready for the hard world. 50 recalls her as being firm but also nurturing, constantly pushing him to choose through his music and interviews. 50Y has never held back when talking about those years. Her advice, "Get up and keep going," stayed with him and shaped his response to life's obstacles as a youngster and subsequently as a world-renowned celebrity. But after Mom died, young Curtis ended up in his grandmother's care in South Jamaica, Queens. When he was 12 years old, he was already working, dealing drugs, and learning how to live on the streets, a road he didn't want or choose, but he felt he had to follow, survive. Life didn't get any easier. He recalls being his grandmother's baby, highlighting the stark contrast between the youngster who had to seek permission to walk home from school and his rough appearance on the streets. With 8 people living in the same house, living with his grandma wasn't always simple. Depict a period of arrests, altercations, and dangerous choices, but his grandmother remained his pillar of support during it all. There was a lot of tension, especially with his Aunt Sylvia, who didn't like that Curtis had replaced her in the family. Despite this, 50Y had a close relationship with his grandmother, who often believed she recognized his mother's face in his own. He felt the weight of this unsaid connection every day, but it also made her love seem even more genuine. He remembers being called to the hospital where the whole family had assembled, and that the passing of his grandma years later was more agonizing than anything 50 had ever gone through. Her eyes shone when he spoke to her, even though he tried to come to terms with the loss of his weakness, even as he dealt with the recurring tragedies of losing friends and loved ones to addiction, violence, and accidents. He saw her pulse rate drop after their brief moment together. And his aunt turned to him saying she was waiting for you. Fast forward to August 2024, when 50 had to deal with his grandfather's tragic death once more. He posted a touching message on Instagram to convey the news, recalling his grandfather's humor and sacrifices even while he was in the hospital after. Although his family is still the most important aspect of his life, relationships haven't always been simple. His connection with Daphne Joy, the mother of his youngest son, Sire, serves as one illustration. Public allegations and court disputes have characterized their tumultuous relationship. In a since-deleted Instagram post from May 2023, actress and model Daphne accused 50 of harassment. 50 responded by suing for defamation, claiming that her charges had damaged his personal life and reputation, including his ability to see his father. The damage had already been done, even though the message was taken down. And 50 and his son's already strained relationship was further exacerbated by Daphne's accusations of feeling abused and in charge. 50 Cent navigates a legacy full of love, grief, and endless obstacles while remaining focused on his family in spite of the upheaval. 50 Cent has always expressed a desire to support his youngest son, but his legal problems with Daphne Joy have made it more difficult to pursue her. In September 2023, despite the intense back and forth, 50Y chose to abandon the lawsuit, arguing that the charges were an attempt to keep him away from his sire as well as to damage his image. He has the option to resubmit later if the case is rejected without prejudice. He seems to want to step back from the legal drama. One thing was certain, though. The tension between 50 Cent and Daphne remained unsolved. It's unclear if it was a part of a larger plot or an attempt to alleviate the issue. In addition, he has been embroiled in a poisonous saga for over 2 decades with Sheena Tompkins, the mother of his eldest son, Maris. Since the late 1990s, their relationship has deteriorated into a vicious cycle of lawsuits, public insults, and incessant social media taunts. In January 2019, 50 accused Shaniqua on Instagram of spending money from his first overseas tour on cosmetic surgery instead of real estate. Sheena didn't mince words and responded angrily, further escalating their already strained relationship and involving Maris in the controversy. Long after they had broken up, their turbulent relationship lasted until 2008, at which point it had become a public war, where disagreements over money were common. According to reports, Sheena collaborated with Carmen Bryan, the ex-girlfriend of the NSA, on a reality TV program that was promoted as a series about encouraging women in business. It wasn't the end of the drama. For Maris's care, 50 revealed that he had been paying Sheena $40,000 a month, or around $500,000 a year. He asserted nonetheless that Shaniqua was dissatisfied and wanted more. The price was lowered to $6,700 each month after 50 brought the case to court to find legitimate employment. Clapping back, Sheena accused him of being bitter and claimed he was scared she would expose his true identity. They were unwilling to compromise as their conflict grew more intense. Maris, their grown son, has attempted to create his own identity while evading the negative influence of their parents' poisonous relationship. Maris is used to the public spectacle his parents have created out of their disagreements. In the middle of these familial problems, conflict has been challenging, and the public has been fascinated by 50 Cent's personal life. When the infamously private rapper went out with Cuban Link at the Power Season 6 premiere, fans were quick to observe their chemistry, and it appeared like their relationship was off to a good start. Fans began to wonder about the current status of their relationship as the spark that had everyone talking seemed to wane with time. The tale of 50 Cent and Cuban links is one of perseverance, complicated familial dynamics, and a never-ending struggle to strike a balance between personal conflict and public achievement. After seeing pictures of the two together on social media in 2019, rumors about their relationship began to spread. However, the couple kept their romance under wraps. When they did disclose, from his continuous conflicts with his former lovers to his resolve to be there for his children, 50's life has been a combination of incredible highs and intensely personal struggles. 50 made fun of their first date during an Instagram Live session, remembering how Cuban Link gave him the address to a restaurant instead of her home. It was playful and indicative of a growing bond between them. In an interview in 2020, 50 revealed that they even created relationship vision boards. To deepen their connection, the pair appeared to be sincere in their efforts to grow both separately and together and pursue a stable future. But over time, admirers discovered when 50 made an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and amusingly affirmed that he was single. The rumors peaked. He made a joke about not being married and being free, making it clear that the relationship was over. The mystery was increased by the fact that, despite his lack of explicit mention, Cuban Link enthusiasts had already put the puzzle together. Speculation began when the two's social media accounts began to lose their updated photos. 50 has often been candid in interviews about why he has never considered marriage, and that his primary emphasis has always been on expanding his empire. He didn't want to get sidetracked by this remark, which stoked rumors that his relationship may have suffered in favor of his work goals. 50 and Cuban Link did not formally declare their separation, but it was clear that their courses had taken different turns. The demands of their separate personal and professional lives appear to be a factor in their separation, as they are for many well-known couples. When Colbert questioned 50 about why he continues to pursue wealth without a significant other to share it with, he described how money impacts relationships. He admitted that romance can be a diversion, particularly for men, and that he would rather concentrate on his objectives. Although he didn't entirely rule out the idea of finding love in the future, he even joked that he doesn't want to feel like a hostage imprisoned in a relationship. A story of tenacity. 50 Cent was given a 9-year prison term for drug selling when he was just 19 years old. His relationship with Cuban Link may have ended, but he and Cuban Link are still pursuing their separate paths, demonstrating his dedication to living his life according to his principles. It's clear that their split was more about protecting prospects than it was about drama. Served for just 6 months, yet that brief period of time was sufficient to change his perspective. He realized that living on the streets would not get him to his desired destination. Hip-hop was evolving as he left. A new wave of gangster rap, shortly to include a new voice from Queens, 50 Cent, was replacing the golden era of gangster rap, which was dominated by NWA, Tupac, Big E. And Snoop Dogg. 50 was adamant about establishing himself in the music industry and power of the dollar. His debut album was meant to be his big break, produced by Run DMC's Jam Master Jay. But a tragedy happened outside his grandmother's home in May 2000, before the album was even published. The aftermath was harsh. His record label, Columbia, abandoned him, forcing the industry to go into hiding while 50 recovered and regrouped. Fortunately, 50 survived 9 gunshot wounds. 50 had to start anew from scratch during this time. 50 was able to get in touch with producer Shaw Money XL through Jam Master Jay Shaw, who had just bought a house on Long Island. When they joked that they had managed to put Humpty Dumpty back together, he was ready to restart his job despite the near-fatal attack. Following that, 50 holed up in Shaw's house and began recording continuously, producing 2 mixtapes that changed the game. This was the beginning of a legendary grind. The future belongs to 50 Cent, and guess who's returning? Not only did these records create a stir, but they also took over New York's streets, with music blaring from car windows and boomboxes everywhere you looked. Get Rich or Die Tryin' became the year's best-selling album and one of the most legendary rap albums ever when it sold 12 million copies globally at the end of the year. Do Club, the album's debut track, was the biggest single of 2003. Dominating the airwaves and peaking at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 9 weeks. But 50 Cent never lost sight of what made him successful, and he often gives credit to his Eminem's concurrent success with the Marshall Mathers LP, which sold an incredible 23 million copies, was promptly acknowledged by 50. According to 51, hip-hop is definitely black music, and some people find it hard to believe that a white artist is better than many black musicians. His popularity was aided by the presence of legendary artists like Eminem and Dr. Dre. And Get Rich or Die Trying sold an astounding 13 million copies. Asterisk from the streets of Queens to international superstardom. 50 Cent's tale is one of tenacity, drive, and reinvention. His path serves as a reminder that, with uncheckable commitment, no setback is too large. He has never ceased pushing boundaries. Remember to check out more material if you liked this story. His 50s breakthrough in music was only the beginning of his career. He has maintained that grounded mindset in every facet. His initial love is still music, even though he has now ventured into other fields, like television. Please like and subscribe to our channel if you want to be inspired by stories like this one.